Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. So today I'm going to give you a quick look inside Guest Hollow's high school chemistry in the kitchen curriculum, as well as the longer portion of this is going to be how I'm planning this out for my daughter. So my daughter that is going to be using this course, she is in 8th grade this year, but this is definitely a 9th grade curriculum, and we are actually going to be taking our time with this. So I'll kind of explain along the way on how we're going to do that, but I can easily see us doing 1.5 to 2 years with this. And there's a few factors. So the factors are, first of all, she's 8th grade. She's very smart, but she is in 8th grade and we are in no rush. There's so much good stuff in here. I'm trying to reduce the glare here. There's so much good stuff in here and I don't want to rush through it. She loves baking and cooking, so I think this is going to be so applicable to her as far as learning chemistry. And actually, I believe that someone doing a review on this curriculum is what led me to look into Guest Hollow in the first place, probably 3 years ago. And ever since we've been using them, starting about 3 years ago, we have always been super happy with and impressed with Guest Hollow's curriculum. So I'm going to take you inside of here. I'm going to show you some of the books. I'm going to show you inside of this guide. And I'm going to be jumping back and forth between the book here, other books, and my computer to show you my planning process for planning this out for my daughter. Okay, so it is a little glary. I do have a laminated sheet here. Funny thing is, I went to look for this and I hadn't printed it out yet, which is so unusual for me. Usually I go ahead and print off the units. I like to hold this in my hand and see a physical copy, but then I also work with it on the computer. So this is not the full version. I only printed off the first 4 weeks so I can show you how I'm going to plan, but I'm going to print the rest off later. I just didn't want you to hear printing in the background while I'm doing this. Okay, so this is, like I said, it is a high school level course. The first page I laminated here. It has some information in the front here that's going to tell you how to use Guest Hollow curriculum. Definitely want to take a look at that anytime you get a Guest Hollow curriculum, and especially if you haven't used them before. So this course starts off with a 4-week supplement, and that is for people who haven't had a lot of experience with chemistry. And I decided that my daughter was going to do this because we haven't done a lot of chemistry with her. So they tell you the books that you need for the 4-week supplement. And so I have them here, so I can just show you them since we're here. This is the spine, I believe. So the elements, ingredients of the universe, and this is the student text. And they go through, the back here is actually some coloring pages, so that's not it exactly. But it's a short little book that goes through just the basics of chemistry. And honestly, going through, it's already more in depth than I know about chemistry. I really honestly don't know if I took chemistry in high school. I was homeschooled in a foreign country, and so I don't know if I took chemistry. I have no recollection of it, but this looks like fun. I think I'm going to be learning a lot as we do this. So they schedule out the reading and then they schedule out some of the activities. And I basically went through and picked the activities that I wanted her to do in there. That is for the first 3 weeks of the 4-week supplement. And then they read this book, The Joy of Chemistry. So that is a very short little book. There's some end of the chapter kind of checkups. I think it's probably just going over and making sure that they have a solid foundation in the basics of chemistry. So that book is for the last week of this 4-week supplement. And then they say the chemical elements coloring and activity book. So I have that here. So this just has, it's a coloring book, and it tells you information about all the elements. I'm not sure what's in the back here. Yeah, so it has some other things in the back here. Honestly, my daughter is not into coloring, so she probably won't use this, but I did pick it up because I do have 2 younger kids than her, and I'll probably use this again, I'm thinking, at some point with at least one of them. So that is the 4-week supplement, and I'm going to show you the schedule for that in a minute. They have a supply list here it's pretty basic supplies. I have already planned out the 4 weeks, so I've taken a look at those. And then here is the schedule. And I went through this and I scheduled this out for my daughter. I cut out the things I didn't want her to do. I chose the things that I wanted her to do. And so, yeah, I'll show you that process in a minute here once I start planning out the rest. Okay, so once you have finished the 4 weeks, or you can skip them if your kids already are familiar with chemistry. One thing that people ask in the Facebook group, I've seen questions about, is this is a 36-week course. So how do you squeeze in the 4 supplemental weeks if your child needs that? So I've heard answers like some people just do this in the summer in preparation for this course. Some people just do the 4 weeks and then they just go through week 32. And I think if you can get through week 32 of this course, you probably have a pretty good foundation in chemistry. And so there's different ways to do that. And some people don't need this and they go straight into the regular schedule. Okay, so Guest Hollow always gives you a book and resource list. And so they tell you what books are scheduled. So they have a big long list here. They have like convenient little check boxes so you can see where you're going to get them. I'm going to show you sort of what I did as far as picking the books that we were going to use for this course and how I determined if I was going to buy them, if I was going to get them from the library, if my parent partnership could buy them for me. So I'm going to show you that in a minute here. So they have the book list and there's just a lot of books here. I do want to show you first, before I move on. So each book has a ranking. And so this is super helpful because they do mention a ton of books. And so basically the ranking tells you how important that book is to the course. So if there is a book with a ranking of 1, so Dr. Joe and What You Didn't Know, then they would be saying that that is a very important book to make sure that you get. And then there's books with ranking of 2, which is probably the next. So if you can only get the 1s, then you could have a course, a very full course using just the 1s. And then they have 2 and then 3 and 4. So 4 is sort of more supplemental. 3 is also supplemental. 1s and 2s are the books that you probably want to look carefully at and see if you want to get them. So that's basically what I did. With an 8th grader, I definitely didn't want to get all the books for this. They give you movie ideas and some supplies, and then they have some unscheduled books here. And then they do have the supply list for the year. So I'm definitely going to be using that as I go through and plan out my weeks. I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 weeks here on the video with you, but looking at the supply list would definitely be something I'd probably be doing maybe 4 weeks at a time and just making sure we have the supplies that we need. Okay, so there's a supply list, and then we get to the schedule. So I'm going to hop over to my computer and just show you my process in deciding what books I wanted to pick up out of these suggested books that they have here. Okay, so I did this for all of my Guest Hollow books for 2024. We are actually working on, I believe it is 3 different courses. We don't finish a whole course in a year, so we take our time with them. So like I said, this one I'm planning on taking 1.5 to 2 years. And so I have this planned out for the first 2/3. So I didn't look at the whole schedule, and I'm not buying the books for the whole schedule. I'm just looking at the first 2/3 of the course, and I'm sure we'll probably not even get that far. I didn't mention that my daughter is also going to be taking 2-hour chemistry course once a week at our charter school or parent partnership program, as they call it here. And so I'm counting those 2 hours towards her credit, at least for this year. I don't want to overwhelm her with too much. Okay, so I looked at mostly the number 1s and 2s, and I looked in various places. So if I have it here in red and I have HCR, that meant that I was getting my parent partnership to purchase that for me. So I got Science, Chemistry, the Elements. That's the one I showed you already. So this is Ingredients of the Universe. So that was for the supplement. And I have the weeks here just so I can sort of organize my thoughts, and I know which books I decided I wanted to do. And so if I need to get something from the library, I have these organized here on this document here. So I got The Joy of Chemistry, so they gave me that. I have the Chemical Elements Coloring and Activity book. I showed you that one. Culinary Reactions. I'll show you these books in a minute, the ones that I have in hand. Elements. And so this one they already had there, so I have it in a different color here. So these are ones they ordered for me. And then this one they had in the library already. I got my parent partnership to order Dr. Joe and What You Didn't Know, Napoleon's Buttons. They already had the story of salt in the library. What Einstein Told His Cook. And then I own this one. So Louis Pasteur. So I wrote that I own it right here. Then Bad Science, Quacks, Hacks, and Big Pharma Flax. I wrote down that there's the audio version on Everand, and I do have a subscription to Everand, and so we can listen to the audio version of that. Also, this means there is an audio version and that we're doing the audio version, and this is Everand. If you're interested in Everand, I have been actually really impressed with the number of audiobooks they have. So that is one of the places I'm looking for all my literature-based curriculum. I always look on Everand to see if they have an audio version. And so I will link that in the description box below if you're interested in checking that out. I think I have a link that will give you 2 months for free to try it out. If it's not 2 months, then it's 1 month, but I feel like it is 2 months. So check that out if you're interested in trying out Everand. I use it almost every day, mostly for myself, audiobooks, but also for my kids in their homeschool. All right, so then the next week's 10 to 12, we have A Grain of Salt, and that is also on Everand. And then I got this one from my parent partnership program, What Einstein Kept Under His Hat. And then these are books that I could get at the library. So we have The Radium Girls. I started reading that this summer. Very interesting. We have Trinity, A Graphic History of the First Atomic Bomb. And so that is from the library. We have Slow Death by Rubber Duck. That's from the library. Stuff Matters, I had in my parent partnership program library. We have Pandora's Lunchbox from the regular library. And then I had them order these two for me, The Disappearing Spoon and Taste. And then there's Molecules to get from my regular library and Happy Atoms 2D Interactive Chemistry Puzzles, which I had my parent partnership program purchase for me. All right, so I'm going to hop over and show you what these books look like, just the ones that I have here on hand to show you. Okay, so here's a quick look at the books. So this is sort of just a more visual resource, the elements. And I will link in the description box below a link to these books as well, if you want to take a look at them further. So we have Stuff Matters. So I have some pictures. Napoleon's Buttons, 7 Molecules That Changed History. Taste, Surprising Stories About Science and Why Food Tastes Good. The Disappearing Spoon. What Einstein Kept Under His Hat. What Einstein Told His Cook. Dr. Joe and What You Didn't Know. And Culinary Reactions. All right, while I'm over here, I'm going to quickly show you that Guest Hollow also has a workbook, and I have the answer key here. And so we're just going to look at the first few lessons. So here's week 1, and what a chapter. You would read a chapter in Culinary Reactions and answer some questions. Chapter 2. So chapter 2 and Dr. Joe, What You Didn't Know, some questions for that. Week 2, we have chapter 2 of Culinary Reactions, chapter 3. Dr. Joe and What You Didn't Know. Week 3, Culinary Reactions, chapter 5, Napoleon's Buttons. So as you can see, some of these books have questions for kids to answer in the workbook. So I'm going to go back on the computer and I'm going to show you my process of planning out a week. I'm still going to be hopping back and forth. I'm going to show you when I'm looking at a book here and how I'm assessing what I want to give my daughter for the day or the week. Okay, so basically how I'm communicating with my daughter as far as what I want her to complete each week is I am cutting and pasting a customized list for the week. So this is what a week is on Guest Hollow, and I'm going through and I'm customizing that week myself and giving it to my daughter. So I'm going to quickly show you sort of my planning sheet on how I know when to assign what and what I give to my daughter for the week for her to plan out her stuff. And then I email her a copy of just the week at a time right now. So I'm going to show you how I customize this in a minute. But first of all, here is a look at sort of the link that I'm using to plan out my daughter's work. So pretty unrelated, I have various things here plotted out for each day. And it is going to be not until week 8 when she is going to be scheduled her first official lesson. Before this, we were doing, here's the first official lesson. Before this, we were doing the supplemental 4 weeks. And because she is doing those 2 hours at the co-op, I am scheduling her 3 days of chemistry and then 2 days off. And so each week I will just copy and paste a week out for her, and it has all of her assignments here. So chemistry in the kitchen is just one of the many assignments. Okay, so I have a spot here for reading in case I want to schedule that separately. Sometimes I don't always read exactly on schedule, but I'm going to have to just take a look at this curriculum and see if I can just give her the lesson number and then she can just follow the customized version that I give her. So on week 7, sometime during the week, she should be starting her week 1, day 1. And I put a little note here to see email. So that is both for her to go and check her email for chemistry week 1 assignments and for me to remember to send that to her when I assign this. So that sort of reminds me that I'm going to need to make sure that that is ready to go. Okay, so here we are looking at week 1. So I'm going to just go through each day and I'm going to try to make sure it's manageable for an 8th grader. So I'm going to take a look at culinary reactions. And it looks like I'm supposed to have her read pages 1 to 5. So let me take a look here. We have introduction. All right, so pages 1 to 5. So I'm going to take a look at this really quickly. Does that look like something she could do? I think that's very manageable. Pages 1 to 5, and then she will have some questions to do in this workbook. So she's looking for answers to the questions. So she can do that, so that's not a problem. All right, and then there's a activity, make a homemade hydrometer. So I'm going to see if, I don't know. We don't really like doing a lot of experiments, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. Or watch the video linked. Okay, so that's probably more likely. Okay, so I will probably just type in watch this video. And then here we go, Dr. Joe and what you didn't know, question 1. And here's a video of the process. So I always like to have videos. So question 1, I'm going to go and take a look over here. So there's Dr. Joe, question 1. Okay, so here we go, question 1. Okay, so that's just a very short amount of reading. She could definitely do that. And then she would have time to watch the video. All right, the mystery of the periodic table. And so this is where a lot of the activities are coming in. So I didn't show you this one. I actually own this one, so I didn't have it in the pile yet. But it looks like we need to be reading chapters 1 and 2, the puzzle. So this might take a little bit longer since it's several pages. Oh, they're short chapters. Okay, so this might be something that I would consider her reading for science, so that's not too bad. Okay, so we have that. And then I did notice that in here, when I was looking at the supply list, because I was just pre-looking at the supply list for the year, so they have a supply list and it says the mystery of the periodic table, instructions for the activities are in the book. And so there's several activities here. that she will run into in the book for this week 1. So this is sort of the activity book at this point. And then there is culinary reactions. So if we wanted to make a hydrometer, these are the things I would need. I would probably skip that. Estimate calories, we can do that easily. And then bread recipe. See the list of ingredients in the book. So in culinary reactions, they have a list of ingredients, or use any other basic bread recipe. So she can make bread if she wants to. All right, so then down here, it's learning about the periodic table. I don't know. Let me take a look at this video to see if it's something that she would find interesting. Quickly take a look here. Okay, so just in looking at those videos, she does not have a long attention span for some videos. So they looked a bit long for her. I don't know if she would really like that. I also don't think that she will be coloring. So I am not sure. I'm going to take a look at this element book and see if that is something that she would be interested in. So it's pages 1 to 14. Yeah, I don't see this information really getting in. So I am not going to schedule this out. This might work for my youngest son. He's super interested in just, I don't know, facts and random things and informational books. She's not going to like that. So I'm probably not going to schedule this. I might just have it out as a reference. So this is week 1. I'm planning week 1. And week 1 is going to take longer than any other week because I'm going to be figuring out what kinds of resources we are actually going to use and which ones we are going to skip. And I'm sure over time we will adjust that as we go. Okay, so I'm already deciding that these 3 things are no. And then they talk about don't worry about coloring everything in the coloring book. Well, we're not going to be. All right, and then these videos are ones that I am more likely to want her to watch. So I might take a look at the length of the videos. Like I said, she doesn't have a lot of patience for a lot of videos. So I might take a look at those. We're not going to do those things. So I can pretty much take this part off. Oh, so first of all, I'm going to copy this. I should have done this at the beginning. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to open a new blank document and I'm just going to paste it here. Now I can edit it and then this is what I'm going to send to my daughter. So I'm going to take out the online things. I'm going to take out these ones here, take out those rows. I'm going to take out these ones. I'm not going to make her do that. Delete rows. Okay. And so I am left with, so we have culinary reactions. I don't feel like there's a ton of reading in those, so I think that is manageable. Activities, I'm just going to have her watch the video link. So I'm going to say, watch this video. And I'm just going to leave that link for her. Okay. Estimate the calories in several packaged or canned items you have at home. She can do that. I don't know. Okay, so that is the reading for the day. It's not the only reading for the day. Let's take a look and see if that looks interesting. Oh, okay. It's a textbook. Okay. So yeah, so I am going to have her read that. I didn't realize that that was part of this chemistry in the kitchen. I don't think I knew that there were any textbook parts. So that's new to me. So here we go. So I am going to have her do that. And then these things look fine. Make bread using basic bread recipe. Okay, so I'm going to tell her that those extra days, she has 2 days. So those are the days that she can do stuff like this. So like I said before, she has 3 days on, 2 days off. I'm going to tell her that those 2 days off are for catching up on things. So like if we have to make bread or it takes a few days to get some supplies, that's when we would do that. So that looks reasonable. These are very short. Those are reasonable. These look good. They are the activities and then the videos. And honestly, I'm going to be asking her as we go along how long these things are taking her. I will probably tell her to spend no more than 50 minutes a day on chemistry, and she can even print this off if she wants, or I could print it off for her. I'm just emailing it to her so she has the links, but she can sort of, change the color. She can like change this color, highlight it. So she could just highlight things as she goes if she'd like, and then she can keep track of where she is. So just spend 50 minutes a day. She can work through the activities, work through the videos, and get as far as she gets. And then we'll just adjust as we go. If she is struggling, then we will make adjustments. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I'll quickly take a look at how long these are. So is this the same length? Okay, if this is talking about how to make a hydrometer, we're not going to do the other one. So if that is making a hydrometer, we're going to take this one out. We don't need to do that as well. Okay, 4 minutes. All right, we're not going to do quizzes, so I'm going to take that out. And you know what? As I'm looking at this and thinking about it, I tend to make YouTube playlists with videos from Guest Hollow. So I will probably just go ahead and click on all of these, and it does take a few hours. I will click on all of these and I will stick them on a playlist. And my boys, as well as her, they are all taking chemistry for those 2 hours. So we can watch these videos together. We often watch videos during lunch. So I think that might be what we'll do instead of having this on her plate. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out, and I'm going to make a playlist, and we will watch these together. So that is just what I'm deciding as we're going along. So, just thinking about my family and what works for us and what we have done in the past. There we go. Okay, so then this is what she's going to get for her week 1. And I feel like that is very doable. Not adding those videos. She has reading to do from, looks like about 3 different books. She has a few questions in her workbook, and then there's some activities in the book. We have optional activities, and I'll probably just see if the ingredients are easy to get or not. And if not, then I won't get them and we'll skip them. And if so, I'll get them. So I'll have to take a look at these and I will just take off anything I don't want her to do. So it's just very clear. So then I'm going to save this and I'm going to name it Chemistry Week 1. So I just have a file with the weekly assignments and I'm just going to save that in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and go to week 2. Okay, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to copy and paste week 2 into a new document. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for week 2. It should be faster this time since I've done it for week 1. So I know we're doing culinary reactions, so I'm going to keep those. We have some activities here, so make homemade marshmallows. She would probably love to do that. I like that it says choose 1 or more recipes, so I could have her pick which one she wants to do. Optional recipe, whipped creamsicle topping. Okay, so we have that. Make eggs Benedict. Okay, so I would say yes. I would highlight that. I want her to do that. So she's going to choose 1 or more of those recipes for the week. Okay, Dr. Joe and What You Didn't Know. The Mystery of the Periodic Table. Yep. And I decided we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Honestly, I will put those on our playlist. So we can watch these. My boys will enjoy it. I'm going to take a look at, are these also a similar video? Okay, no, but these are very short. But yeah, I'll just add those to our playlist, so I don't need to worry about that. And then the coloring book. So she is not doing any of these, so I can take all of those out. Okay, and then I know I'm going to put this on a playlist, and I don't really do the online activities. So I'm deleting those. Okay, so that is week 2. So like I said, it's going to be a lot faster now that I have taken a look at some things. So chemistry, week 2. Okay, since that one was so quick, I'm going to go ahead and do one last one. And so occasionally there'll be a new book that I'll need to look at and decide if she can add that or not. And paste. Okay. And yeah, so there might be a new book here and there. I'll have to take a look. Okay, so cheese kit. She's gonna probably want to make cheese. So I'll have to make sure I get that. Dr. Joan, what you didn't know. Okay, so we have Napoleon buttons. So I'm gonna take a look at those just to see if that could be too overwhelming for her. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so we're taking a look at chapter 1. Okay, so introduction, that is not scheduled. Okay, that's long. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's quite a few pages. We'll try it. We'll try it and see how that goes. And then I want to see if there are any workbook pages for that. So this was week 3. Week 3, we have some for culinary reactions. And there's Napoleon's buttons. So I kind of like that she will have to be looking for answers to things. So yeah, so I think we'll try that out for sure. If she hates it, then we'll stop, but we'll give that a try. Okay, so I know that we are not doing any of these, so I'll delete those rows. Activities and assignments. Make starch goo. Make a density tower. See video in the video links. Okay. I think I'll continue to make that optional. So if she wants to do it, she can do it. If not, we'll. Okay, many students have tested items for starch by time they reach high school. If not, you can do a simple experiment to test foods for starch. Okay, so we'll see if we do that or not. Make starch goo. Okay, so let's see. There's no other assignments. I might have her do these two just because I don't see any other assignments this week. Gonna take out the printables, unless they look really cool. Let's take a look. I do like the information and talking about different types of fat. I wonder if we could just take a look at the guide. Okay, maybe I would have her take a look at that. I do like that information. So let's see. So we have that. I would type maybe something like take a look at this guide and then videos I'm taking out. I'm just going to take a look at this. So also kind of short little thing. So I'm going to take a look and see sort of what we have those days. I do have a notebook that she could take notes in additionally if I wanted to use it, if I felt like we needed something else. So I know she's taking notes in this, and we're going to make the cheese kit. I know she's sometimes answering questions about this. She is answering questions about this. So I sort of feel like we don't really need to add more. So I think we would probably do these 2 activities, and then we could take a look at these two. I'm not sure why these are separate. They seem like they're the same type of thing. So I'm going to stick that up here. And I'm going to stick here, read, and read. Okay, and this one I actually just wanted her to look at okay. And then the videos we're going to take out. And if I was finding that we're not getting through the videos at a good pace, then I could assign her some videos as well. I could just have her watch some videos to get caught up a little bit. So that would be week 3 and what I have for week 3. So now that I have things planned out like this, I really just have to go ahead and email her this every time she starts a new week of work. And then she'll have the books and she'll sort of know what to do after we go through it the first week or so. So that is how I am planning out for my daughter's chemistry. So I hope that was helpful. I do have an additional notebook here if we need to use it. It is a narration journal, so I could have her, when she's reading stuff that is not required answers to the workbook, I could have her do a written narration here, or I could have her draw pictures here. So I could request that and just type that into her schedule as well. This is a notebook that she created herself that we're selling on Amazon. So I will link that below as well. We do have a lot of science notebooks that look like this. Actually, they've changed a little bit. Some of them have slightly less for drawing and more lines for writing, but I will link those below if you're interested in checking those out. She creates all the covers for me and I upload them on Amazon. So I'll also link all of these books down below as well if you're interested in them. So that is a look at Guest Hollow's high school chemistry in the kitchen curriculum. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I would love to answer them if I can. I will keep you updated on how this course is going for my daughter. It is looking really interesting, and yeah, we're excited to get into the reading and the activities and cooking and baking things and learning more about chemistry. So if you like videos like this, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for coming today, and I hope to see you all in a future video. Bye, everyone.